Well, that topic there has been sort of got the water coolers, the water cooler conversation going, hasn't it? And that is a woman and her 3 children died of carbon monoxide poisoning in Ashburton last week. Now, Auckland socialite Pebbles Hooper tweeted the family's deaths were natural selection. Firstly, on that topic, what do you think of that comment, Denise?
I think it was a terrible comment, and our thoughts are with the family. I think she's very unwise to make it. It sort of shows a huge lack of compassion.
What about you, Paul?
Well, the comment was despicable. We're talking about the death of 3 innocent children in an accident by the mother. It's a terrible tragedy, and to make light of it was in poor taste. And she's paid a high price by losing her position.
A very, very high price. Phil, thoughts on this?
I think Pebbles Hooper gives Darwin a bad name. But I tell you what, I think TV3 basically seems to be providing a refuge for National Party-aligned gossip columnists that go off the rails, and I think they should give Pebbles her own show with Rachel Clisina and Paul Henry. They could call it the National News. What do you think, Paul?
Look, I think that's a bizarre remark. I've never heard of Pebbles Hooper before, and as far as I'm aware, she's not a national person.
What about that? I mean, should you be able to say what you like on social media? Widening the issue out. I mean, social media is quite fraught. You say one thing in the heat of a moment. What about that, Paul? I mean, have you been guilty of this?
We sometimes all say silly things online, but I don't think I've done anything that bad. But let me just make the point. Before social media, if you, for instance, were caught by the boss on the roof of your house when you're supposed to be off on a sickie, you know, that was not broadcast by social media. It still got you into terrible trouble with your employer. These days, if you take a selfie of yourself at the pub when you're having a sickie, that the whole world's going to see. So it's a different world we live in.
Denise, was this a case of cyberbullying, both on behalf of Pebbles Hooper and the people who then piled on in and criticised Pebbles Hooper?
Yeah, I think it probably could be seen as cyberbullying. But, essentially it's about attacking people who are vulnerable. And, that's what the Harmful Digital Communications Bill was all about that was passed last week. And that is about keeping people who are vulnerable a bit safer online, people who are targeted. So I don't know if Pebbles Hooper is a bully or not.
That wouldn't stop people saying what she said, though, that bill.
Sorry?
That wouldn't stop people saying...
It would go to the regulator who would be set up under this bill to assess whether it was or not.
All right. What about you, Phil? I mean, Pebbles Hooper, she lost her job over just a random comment. Do you think that was fair, Phil?
Live by the sword, die by the sword. This young woman's obviously had a compassion bypass, and she's paid the price for it. And, when you replace journalists with gossip columnists, that's kind of what happens.
Have you said anything silly on Twitter that you regret?
Yeah, actually, but my attitude in politics is that if you dish it out, you've got to be prepared to take it. And Twitter's a very rough and tumble place.
What did you say? Can you remember what you said?
Oh, so many I've lost count.
All right, okay, we'll come back to you guys. Let's go to Damien.
I was going to say, who here has got, hands up if you've got control of a work Twitter account or a work Facebook account that you post for? Anyone? Non-profit. Is it non-profit?
Yes.
What is it?
Specialises in Doctor Who called 0800 TARDIS.
So with the weight and the responsibility of that account on your hands, when you tweet from that account, are you quite careful what you say?
Well and truly, you have one spelling mistake, someone will try and pick you up on it. Had one who used to really hammer us on our, punctuation errors, used to criticise us on our footage if, say, there was a blurry line in it.
I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about you wake up, you get a bit drunk one night, you wake up in the morning and you've accidentally tweeted, Doctor Who sucks, Star Trek forever. And you're sort of...
Never done that, no. We watch it. We be very careful, us, all our admins who do it. But I've seen some very bizarre stuff posted before, and I've questioned it to the other people who have done it.
All right, let me try and find a person in a suit, because that's, that's really where the... Here we go, over here. Hello there. It's a nice suit you've got.
Oh, thank you.
It's a rare thing in the backbenchers audience. Do you run any social media, corporate social media?
No, I don't.
You never had... Have you got your own Twitter?
No, I don't. I deleted it, actually.
What? Oh. Did you? Because, because you said bad things?
No, because I didn't know how to use it. I know I'm only 18, but, that's pretty bad.
Okay, all right. Right in the corner here, just... No. I got told specifically to come and talk to you by my producer. She said you're a good talker. Have you got a social media account, like a Facebook?
Yes.
Have you ever written anything and then deleted it the next morning?
Yes.
What was it? Tell the world.
No.
Good chat. Wallace.
What about this issue there? Here's a person who, what about this issue of freedom of speech? This brings to the whole, it was one comment and it was pretty, let's face it, it was pretty disgusting, but it was her thoughts, Paul. What about the issue of freedom of speech?
Yeah, and we have to reconcile Section 14 of the Bill of Rights Act against what is in the Harmful Digital Communications Act. And I think we do that. It's a proportionate response. So if you've got some horrendous abuse, for instance, incitement to suicide, that will be treated much more seriously by the approved agency than the low-level playground-style bullying of old.
What about you, Denise? Is this a freedom of speech issue? The fact is, yes, it's pretty disgusting, but we all make a lot of comments that we do not like in society. So why shouldn't someone state their opinion on Twitter?
Well, actually, I think there's common sense that needs to come into that. People are a lot more nasty on social media than they are in real life. You just don't see. Yeah, you just don't see people writing letters to the editor saying that.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that?
I think because it's so sort of, it can be fairly anonymous and it's so sort of instant, and so it's kind of like, stream of consciousness in some ways. But I think it's a huge mistake to say stuff in that medium that you wouldn't say to people's faces.
This is very interesting, isn't it? I just want to go back to you, Damien, because this is something that happens all the time. People say, why are people so much more nastier on something like Twitter than face-to-face?
Excuse me, can I talk to you?
Sure.
Are you on social media?
Yes.
Have you ever said anything that you wouldn't say to someone's face, like about someone you didn't know, someone on TV maybe?
But only in a private space.
In a private space, and not on Twitter or Facebook?
Well, on Facebook, but in a private room.
There are private rooms on Facebook?
There are very private rooms on Facebook.
Tell me, just unclench for a second. I know, just turn around, the camera's just there, you see?
That's great.
Now, great. Now, tell me, when you're posting something on Facebook, do you have rules? What sort of mental checklist do you go through?
I would post in a room that I felt safe in because it wouldn't leave anywhere else.
Yeah, what about what you're saying? Because I was going to post something today and I went, nah, not that one. Not this week. Not of all weeks. I can't lose my job.
I would only post something about a relevant situation if it was in a safe environment.
So you'd never say anything, you'd never come out and say such and such is a dick or whatever?
Of course.
Oh, you do?
In a safe environment.
Okay, cool, all right. What about, this guy looks like a stirrer from way back. Hello.
Hi there.
What's the worst thing you've ever said on Facebook?
I try to keep my comments reasonably sanitized in public areas. Same with keep the fun stuff to private conversations with friends.
Oh, because that always works out. We saw that from the dirty politics thing, didn't we? What's the worst thing that you've ever said? Have you ever said anything publicly that you've then gone back and deleted?
Not that I can recall, but anything I say would normally be about other rugby teams and in which I would happily stand by.
All right, just quick show of hands. Anyone up there got a good story about something they deleted? No, I can see this woman here smiling. She's got something to hide.
I don't delete things generally. It's normally like the edit Nazi sort of thing. Oh no, the comma's in the wrong place. It's just to make it the perfect post and so it reads the best. Aside from that, nothing else.
Cool, Oxford comma, big issue on social media. Thank you, Wallace.
So on the panel there, have you ever unfollowed someone that you just said, oh, that's just not good? What about you, Phil?
Yeah, once or twice I have, yeah.
Who? Who have you unfollowed?
I don't know. They're dead to me now.
Do you follow? What about you, Paul? Everyone followed someone that
Yeah, I think...
Arsenati Lawley Taylor or someone like that, or...
Well, it was hard to know which was the real one, if you recall. There was the real one and the very, very good parody. But no, occasionally MPs do get abusive sort of messages, and I find the best response is just to unfollow them.
Yeah, yeah. What about you, Denise?
Yeah, Facebook, I've blocked quite a few people. There's a nasty element on Waiheke Island, and my daughter was targeted by cyberbullying last year. So, and I also blocked my brother-in-law. I love him very much, but he just says the most outrageous things, so I had to block him.
How do you protect your daughter? Why do you need to do that?
Sorry?
Why do you need to protect your daughter?
She was 15 at the time.
Right, okay.